Hello and welcome back to another episode of Chatting with Chip with Barton College football head coach Chip Hester. I am Wilson Times sports editor Paul Durham. And coach, this week is a tough one. It's getting tougher. We knew this was going to be a tough run. You guys are coming off a 42-21 loss at number 19 ranked Newberry. Third straight loss for you guys. And truthfully, this was probably the most one-sided game that y'all had faced all year. I mean, you stayed with them for a while, but I mean, they scored, I think, they scored touchdown every first half possession except for the last one when they got it for about 2 plays at the end. And then again on their first possession of the second half, 6 straight touchdowns. That is just tough to overcome. Just want to get your thoughts on how tough was Newberry on Saturday.
Yeah, they're a very good football team, very talented. Things we talked about last week, we knew that going in. I thought they came out swinging, and we didn't have enough answers, so it was frustrating. I thought a key point in the ball game, we're down 21-14. They got the ball first. We've answered both of their scores. We drive down and actually score, but it's called back on a holding penalty. 2 plays later, we try another long field goal and don't get it, and I think 2 plays after that they have a long touchdown. So momentum really shifts. It's a 14-point swing, and we didn't have enough good answers. We're banged up, no question, on defense, but everyone else is, and so they outplayed us, outcoached us. I felt like, and it was a frustrating day. We had our issues covering kicks, and they had too many good starting field positions, and so we didn't do it enough to win the ball game, and hopefully we'll learn from it and move forward, because you can't worry about what's gone before. You've got to worry about the next one, and we've got another great challenge coming to town this weekend. Yeah,
they're just stacked up like trucks trying to get weighed right now. These big time opponents with Lenoir-Rhyne, which was 14th. I haven't looked at the rankings today, but they're a ranked team coming in. But back up to Newberry, just the thing that really was different, I think, about this game is your defense has been playing so good all year. Mm-hmm. But gosh, the number of guys that were not available. You have Alex Gout on the defensive line. I mean, really starting back in the spring with Kendarius Jenkins. Now it's starting to catch up to you. I think you said that Quayon Gilbert left the game. Connor Stanley left the game. J.L. Ledbetter. These are big-time players for your defense. And I know, as a coach, that's not an excuse. Injury should never be an excuse, because you're supposed to have somebody else ready to come in. But I think it kind of underscores the difference between the front line guys and the second line guys, if only in terms of experience. So how do you get up to speed real quick with that?
Well, we had some guys that were under some serious on-the-job training, and we've got some young guys that went out there and fought like crazy. We've got a freshman defensive lineman that experience is valuable, and you learn what it looks like, the speed of the game. You learn the strength of your opponent, and hopefully it'll help this week and the week after and the week after, but especially going forward into the years to come. And so it was a tough game. It was a tough game. Defensively, we struggled to get off the field, and you got to find a way to make some plays, and we just didn't make enough. I thought offensively played pretty well. You look at the stats, and you and I have talked many times about how stats don't tell the whole story, but they do tell part of the story, and part of the story was that we did outrush them. We were better on third down. There are a lot of good things that went on. I thought we had guys step up on offense that we needed to, and we just didn't quite have enough, and it got away from us a little bit, and it's frustrating. It is frustrating. It's no fun to lose, but as a team, we've got to move forward, and you've got to worry about the play ahead of you and the game ahead of you, and so hopefully we'll learn some lessons, and we'll be able to make some adjustments. Hopefully we'll get some of these guys back. We've got some that we know that they're not going to be back, and so some of those young guys have got to step up and start making more plays. But I think we talked about it last week. We've got some very strong leaders on our football team, and it'll be really important that those guys step up. There's a lot of football to be played, and there's pride on the line. We've got to show what kind of character we've got as a football team going forward.
No doubt about that. There's still a lot of football to be played. You guys are only halfway through your season now. You still have 5 games.
Right.
Division, I think, is still in play. I mean, some things would have to happen, but obviously you need to start winning. There, offensively, yeah, you guys had a great day. Jordan Terrell with 180 yards. I think that was a season high. Right. And guess what? He's in the top 10 nationally too. I noticed that. He's had a tougher year, but he's been steady. As you know, he's been right around to 100 yards every game but one. So it's good to see your offense getting him the ball on him, because that's really what you guys are predicated on.
Right.
But gosh, what took you guys 8 plays to do, they were doing in 3.
Yeah.
And sometimes only going half the distance because they got a long kickoff return.
Right.
So
right.
Little things.
Yeah, little things. We've talked about that over and over this week. I think you're exactly right. But you've got to acknowledge the good with the bad, and you've got to work on the things that didn't work for us. And so again, we're at the point with some of our coverage teams that you talk about it so much. Is that becoming part of the problem? So we got to have guys that go down and make plays. We've got to kick it where we're supposed to kick it, and then we've got to go down and make some plays. And it's that simple. We're gonna. Today at practice, we're going to get back to some fundamentals, and but again, you got to make some plays. And the thing that you'll see over and over in this league is you're going to be playing against really good people. As good of players as we've got, everybody's got good players in this league. They do. Everybody's got good players, and a lot of them have more depth with experience, and so. We've got to find ways to be creative as a coaching staff, and find ways to get ourselves little things that might make a difference. And so that's what we're trying to do this week as a coaching staff, and as players, we've got to refocus. We got to refocus and come with great energy and great drive this week, because like we said, it doesn't get any easier. Lenoir-Rhyne's a great football team.
Well, you're right about things not getting any easier, because if we look at last year, and I know as a coach you want to focus on what you have in front of you, and it's my job to sort of take perspective.
Sure.
But we look at last year and we think, wow, you went 6-5 in your real first year as a full season as a football program. That was great, obviously, with everybody almost coming back.
Right.
The expectations are. And truthfully, you can look at your team, and it might not say it on the record. I mean, y'all are 2-4. It's like Bill Parcells said, you are what your record is.
You are. That's right.
But at the same time, this team's probably better than last year's team. But you're not playing the same schedule at the same time, and so you're playing different teams. You had a couple games that you maybe could have won against Tusculum and Mars Hill here, didn't get it done. And now you're kind of in a tougher thing. But I think overall, the idea is that you guys are getting better. You're getting better as a team. You're getting better as individuals, as coaches, and everything. Just doesn't always come out in the wash, though, does it?
Yeah, I think we all want results. We all want results. We all want wins. And like I said, it is just miserable to lose. There's no question about that. But you've got to have perspective, and you've got to have the right attitude, and understand that it's and again, you and I've talked about coach speak, and I'm guilty of it a lot. But there are things that are true. You've got to be process oriented. You've got to do things the right way, and you got to keep banging on the door, and eventually it's going to open. And so I think you're right. I think that this year we had a chance to win some games, and you got to find a way to win those close ones. You got to, and if you do, that builds some momentum and builds confidence, and then you can kind of stack wins. But when it's all said and done, we've been talking to our guys about not looking at the scoreboard, but looking at the play ahead of us, and doing our best on every single play. And we've got to do that game by game. We can't look at the big picture. We've got to be small picture and focused in on the thing that's right ahead of us. We can't control what's outside. We can't control injuries, but we can control how we respond to those things. And so that's what our focus has been this week already.
Well, this week is another big one, Coach. You got Lenoir-Rhyne coming to town. You guys have not fared well against them in 2 meetings. They are a tough.
Yes.
I mean, when you think South Atlantic Conference, obviously Carson Newman's maybe the traditional favorite, but gosh, Lenoir-Rhyne's done everything that anybody else has done, and they're right in it this year. And who's to say they won't, pull it out? Except for you guys can say that right now. You might have something to say about Lenoir-Rhyne's title hopes. And that's really the thing. I remember last year Wingate came to town, number 8 at the time, unbeaten, and you guys handed an L to Wingate. It can be done just like it can be done every week. So really, I guess it's just a matter of starting over. And what can you tell us about the Bears right now? What are you guys focused on? What are you expecting from them? What do you hope to get done against them? Besides win the game, obviously.
Right, Paul, you're exactly right. At kickoff time, it's a new day. It doesn't matter what's happened before. It's not going to happen what happens afterwards. It's that game on that day. And so we've got to come to play. But there'll be a challenge for us. Again, you're looking at a team that's got a dynamic running back. McGee is as good as it gets. He's a different style of runner than Jordan. And again, I would not trade Jordan for anyone. So, that's I think that's first to be said. But he's a dynamic back. They've got other backs that are talented. They've got receivers, and they've got a quarterback that dishes the ball well. So, and then on defense, they're good. They fly around. They do a good job. They've got good depth. They're playing multiple guys, so they stay fresh. And so it's going to be a challenge in all aspects. They've got a really good return game, and so we've got to get better from last week in order to compete this week. And I think our guys will be locked in. I think they'll be motivated. I think we've got some high character guys that are going to fight and compete no matter what. And so I'm excited to see how we respond this week back home. Hopefully we'll have a good crowd, and so that energy we can feed off that a little bit and compete this Saturday. That's the goal.
Well, we went in last week's game talking about Newberry, and they lost their first game the week before to Carson Newman. I mean, timing is great. Obviously, you're going to have to beat whoever you play.
Right.
But you don't like to play a team that was ranked and then just lost the game at home, or when you play them at home. But now you guys are the ones that have something to prove. You've lost 3 straight. You haven't won at home all year.
Absolutely.
You're ready to get a win, and I would say at this point you got to look at yourselves as the dangerous team.
Yeah, absolutely. And I will tell you this, Paul, that I rarely are you as bad as people think you are or as good as people think you are. But what matters is us being the best version of ourselves. And so I don't think we need to think about records or anything like that, or future schedule, or whatever the case may be. We've got to worry about the task at hand, and that's getting after it on every single play. And we don't want to back down from anyone. And so that's our mentality. We've been knocked down, there's no doubt, but we got to get off the canvas and put our left foot forward and start throwing haymakers and see what happens.
Coach, do you feel like y'all have put together a complete game yet this season?
Absolutely not. As a matter of fact, that's after the game, that's one of the things we talked about. If we could put together, because we've shown in spots during the season so far, we've played really well on defense. We've played really well on special teams, and we played really well on offense at different times. But we have not put it all together, and so that's to be quite honest, that's on me. And so I've got to find a way to get our team ready to play and play together and have that team chemistry and feed off of one another. And if we do that, I think we can compete with anyone. Well,
I think you've shown that you can do that in the past for sure. And like I said, you got most of the guys back from last year. So it's just a matter of getting it together. Well, hopefully this Saturday will be the day that the Bulldogs put it all together, and we can talk about a huge upset next week. Regardless of what happens Saturday, we will be here next week to talk with Coach Hester about his Bulldogs and see how the rest of the season is going to shape up for them. So make sure you come back and check us out.